This video talks about the WOW program, Wellness and Optimal Weight. You could utilize the WOW drop system in the center as a standalone component, but we're going to talk about why the extra optional add-ons of the WOW Basics plus the WOW digestion components can add significant value. And we have expert doctors to talk about the key components.
What is the key component of our optimal solution for wellness and optimal weight? WOW. On the left, the two bottles, Lifeboat Homeopathic Weight and Wellness Drop System. Through our fasting podcast, we're going to teach you the insights, the tips, and the tools for excellent intermittent fasting. And we have an optional, powerful digestive aid on the right. And we're going to hear from the expert doctors on the drops and the digestive aid. First, let's get the real skinny on fat. Toxins are flooding through our food, drink, air, water into our bodies, and this is a big part of the problem. When you look at the 5-pound fat replica, there's red marks on it depicting toxins sequestered to try to help us by keeping the toxins maybe on our hips or belly instead of on our hearts and vital organs. However, even though that may have sounded like fat is our friend, fat is a major enemy because fat is like its own endocrine system. It's emitting over 30 substances, only 2 of which the body finds useful, and one of its substances promotes insulin resistance with the blood sugar, and another is the bad estrogen associated with tumor risk, even in men and children. Let's take a look at that image with the 3 figures. The first figure is a person that obviously looks overweight, but where are their toxins? Maybe around the belly, the middle part, the hips and buttocks. A lot of people have yo-yo dieted their entire lives and tried all these crazy diets, and they keep going back to the beginning because they're not dumping toxins and changing their ways. The second figure, after they went on such and such diet, now they look skinny for a little bit, but now the toxins are very concentrated. They might be very sick now. And look how the toxins have creeped up around the heart area. So to survive, the body will say, let's get more fat to help protect the person. And the cycle continues until we break loose, understand, eliminate the toxins like we're doing with our system, and we're educating you to quit bringing toxins back into the body. Fat can also lie in our arteries and around our cells, so these dirty little cells might have trouble pumping blood through these clogged up arteries, so we might have trouble with cholesterol, triglycerides, blood pressure. This fat is a very big problem, even when people might look skinny. Get on a body composition scale. Things were different in the beginning. The hunter-gatherers had times of feast and famine, and things were clean. So the nature and instincts are what drove when and what they ate. They were eating to live. Nowadays, in our toxic, abundant world, we are often running overheated, eating from sun up to sundown, snacking 5 or 6 times a day, and things are so toxic and lacking in enzymes. What is driving us as we live to eat instead of eating to live? Misinformation, marketing hype, stress, and peer pressure. So we're going to give you fasting suggestions for the 30-day challenge via a document and a video. You've probably already seen this as part of your invitation to join the 30-day challenge. Look at this page on the Lifeboat Homeopathic Weight and Wellness Drop System. All natural lifestyle approach with natural eating, all geared at these amazing and abundant targeted benefits. You'll notice visceral fat is down there, by the way, and even emotions, appetite control. The clinical study at the bottom is pretty impressive, but I want you to hear from my mentor and the guru of this system. So I am going to introduce you to Dr. Ginger, member of the Scientific Advisory Board and founder and CEO of her own wellness company that's known for disease reversal. She works with Fortune 500 companies, does articles and appearances worldwide, even on the Dr. Oz show. But one thing I really love about her is that she's very humble, a great teacher, and has a passion for helping and educating others with wellness. So, Dr. Ginger, would you please share with us the insights on this homeopathic weight and wellness drop system?
Thank you so much, Julie, for that kind introduction. And hello, everyone. I'm so excited to share with you this incredible product. It's homeopathic and herbal, which is totally safe. There's no contraindications. So even people that are on medications, there's no worries. In fact, because it rebalances so many areas, what we find is people go back to their doctors, and because they're making positive changes on their end, their doctor is noticing positive changes on different biomarkers. And so they work with their doctor, and we've had so many people get off of their medications because they're getting rebalanced and ultimately losing weight, which is probably their primary goal. But because of the rebalancing of so many different areas, it's just so much fun to watch. We're kind of like a big spider web where everything is connected. And when you start rebalancing one area, it's amazing how it trickles to the rest of the areas. So in terms of the drops, I mentioned they're homeopathic and herbal body balancing formulas with an incredible side effect of weight loss if that's what you need. And we have had hundreds of thousands of people all across the world utilize this product. And we've had people lose over 100 pounds. And we have fitness competitors and athletes using the same product to get totally ripped. So kind of wherever you are on that spectrum, it helps to take your physique to the next level. So I mentioned there are homeopathic and herbal drops that go under your tongue before you eat your 3 largest meals. The first bottle goes under your tongue 10 minutes before you eat. And then the second one, the drops go under your tongue right before you eat. And the instructions are on the bottle and on the box. And there's a pamphlet that comes with it that has a food list. As long as you get the drops under the tongue as directed, remember they don't work in the bottle, but they definitely work when they get under your tongue, you will notice a lot of different changes. The first area is in the area of sugar cravings. So do you know anyone that's addicted to sugar, whether it's candies, breads and pastas, sodas, or even alcohol? When sugar impacts the brain, it literally stimulates the same area of the brain that cocaine does. It's called the reward center. And when someone gets addicted to sugar, it becomes a physiological issue where they really struggle in breaking that. And so the homeopathic remedy works through the brain to kind of reset the brain, reset the taste buds, such that within 3 or 4 days of you taking these drops, you'll notice a difference. Either you're not ravenously craving the breads and pastas or the sugary drinks or the sugary foods that you're used to craving, or you'll notice that, you know what, you're back in control and you can have one of something and not the whole plate. So it's been an interesting journey. People tell us they feel back in control. This bottle is their discipline. The second area that it helps to rebalance and support that can relate to weight issues is the thyroid. So if someone is struggling with a thyroid issue, whether it's hypo or hyper, we want to help support that thyroid. And so there's a homeopathic remedy in there to do that. The second bottle has a little bit of energy in the form of vitamin B12 in the proper form, the methylated form. Your B vitamins are your energy vitamins. And when you put B12 under the tongue, it's kind of like a shot of energy. In addition, we have a little green tea extract. So between the two of those, once we have the sugar cravings and highs and lows under control, we've got consistent energy going on. And most people are deficient in B12. So this is a great supplement to get on a daily basis for energy and to replenish the B12 vitamin that is probably missing in your diet. In addition, we have 2 herbal ingredients, ashwagandha and rhodiola. You don't have to know those, but you may have heard of those before. They are called adaptogenic herbs. What is that? Adaptogenic herbs help the body to adapt to stress. If you're super stressed out, one of your stress hormones is called cortisol. You may have heard of that before. Cortisol is elevated. Guess what? You can't release body fat. Your insulin or your fat storage hormone is also elevated. You probably can't sleep. You're kind of feeling like a mess when you're totally stressed out. So ashwagandha and rhodiola, those herbs, help to bring down and normalize your cortisol levels, kind of rebalance your cortisol levels, and you feel a difference. People report that they feel good. So you've got the discipline, feeling in control, and the feel-good effect as well as energy. So the combination of the two together are an incredible 1-2 punch. Whether you have hundreds of pounds to lose or that last 5 or 10 pounds or anywhere in between, they literally help you take your physique to the next level, no matter where you are. For weight loss, it absolutely happens. In fact, in our clinical study, Julie mentioned earlier, women lost an average of a half a pound per day, and men lost an average of 2/3 a pound per day, which blows away the other programs that are out there, the popular programs. And this does things in a very healthy way, and you're having a lot of other positive side effects as well because of the rebalancing. So Julie, I'll throw it back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ginger. We're going to continue now on the perfect complement. Some of you that are in this challenge have chosen the digestive aid, and you can see that it's about 5 different products all in one capsule. So since you've seen this before, we're now going to have the formulator and the owner, Dr. Jeff, the co-founder and general partner of this company, offering this incredible digestive aid. And he has over 30 years in the wellness and the air purity industry. And Dr. Jeff is a phenomenal teacher and a kind heart, and I thoroughly love working with him. Dr. Jeff, if you would share with us.
Thanks for having me on tonight. I'm real excited to talk about our tri-zyme plus because when we created the product, I guess we were really thinking about people's health more than just digestion. When people think about enzymes, mostly you're thinking about digestive enzymes, but people just don't realize the importance in the body that enzymes are responsible for and what they can do. They really play a crucial role in just about every reaction that takes place in the body. Every muscle, nerve, organs, when you blink your eyes or when you stand up, just about any body function requires enzymes. It's more than just helping you digest food, but it really makes a difference as far as your body being able to function the way it was supposed to do. The reason we call it tri-zyme plus, and it's what makes this product stand above everything else out there, is there are 3 proteases that work at 3 different pH ranges. So it can work in the digestive tract, in the blood, and in the lymphatic system, all 3, okay? Very important to understand. When you get undigested fats and proteins in the blood and lymph, they can cause a lot of trouble. And what I mean by that is when undigested fats and proteins travel through the bloodstream, they make the blood plasma very thick. It's hard for the red blood cells to transport nutrients and oxygen through the body and into the cells that obviously are necessary for proper reproduction and growth in the life of the cells. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong there. As far as we know, no one else out there has anything like this product. There are 2 types of enzymes. I'll just go through that real quick with you just so you know. You have digestive enzymes, and of course they aid the pancreas and secretion from the liver to help break down foods. It also helps to break down undigested fats and proteins, which I'll talk about in a second, which are real important for your body to be able to transport nutrients properly and oxygen. So that's digestive enzymes. But these other enzymes that I want to talk to you about are metabolic enzymes. They're the ones that are the facilitation of just about every body function. So we use different types of enzymes, first of all, protease, amylase, lipase, peptidase. We wanted to use some of these to break down not just simple foods, but also long-chain proteins in the body to help provide more amino acids for the building blocks, obviously, for lean muscle and things like that. Also to help with anti-inflammatory effects. So inflammation is a real key thing here because, we talk a lot about on our calls about, heart disease and cancer and stroke and things like that. And they've discovered that really heart disease is more about inflammation. So we wanted to add something in there also as an anti-inflammatory and not just the digestion of protein, and that's bromelain. That actually comes from pineapple. It's a lot more than just the enzymes. We also have probiotics, and I know you hear about friendly bacteria and balancing your intestinal flora, but probiotics are beneficial microorganisms, and they populate your digestive tract. They're also necessary for helping to clean out, like when you have diverticulitis and those diverticuli sacs that build up on the outside of the intestine. And you need these friendly biotics to do a lot of things, but they also help to convert waste materials in the blood to nutrients. So there's a lot of things going on here with probiotics, and it's very important that you keep your intestinal flora balanced. They also help to fight disease-causing organisms. You have all kinds of different scientific studies because we like to really show you what these things do, but not just what we're saying about it, but what the medical community or other third-party studies are saying about these probiotics and enzymes. It also aids, not just in digestion like we talked about, but there are other things going on here that can help keep the GI tract clean, smooth, working properly. But, a lot of people are suffering today from things like acid reflux, and they're just having a lot of issues with gastric distress. Maybe they're suffering from some diseases like Crohn's disease. It's just really important that they take the proper enzymes and the proper probiotics, but also the proper herbs that can help. We use a combination of papaya at a 10-to-1 extract, by the way. The glycerinated licorice, it's called DGL. It's really good for helping to condition the colon. We also use fenugreek, which also helps as well, and also for balancing blood sugar levels. We also use another ingredient called chromate. I like chromate because we've never seen a negative article published about it. It's a GTF niacin-bound chromium. It's not just for supporting healthy blood sugar, but remember that chromium is the key that allows insulin to do its job. And you need chromium for that function, but you have to have the right type of chromium because there's different chromiums out there like chromium chloride, chromium picolinate, and these are forms of chromium that definitely could be unsafe. For instance, chromium picolinate. Your body has to have niacin to be able to absorb chromium. And that's why we use a niacin-bound GTF chromium so that when we take that particular supplement, it doesn't compete in the body for niacin. It doesn't act like a free radical. When you take something like chromium picolinate, it is bound to picolinic acid, so it competes in the body for niacin. That's why a lot of people have problems taking that particular type of chromium, but they don't have that when they take something like chromate. As an ingredient for balancing blood sugar, it just does a great job, but it also helps to keep down the amount of lipids in the blood and, of course, helping to break down the sugars. Real important that you're using the right type of chromium as well. That's just a great support in a product like this. Vitamin A is there, vitamin D3 for absorption of calcium. And then we also add ionic C minerals. On the label, it says calcium, but it's actually a type of ionic C mineral complex that consists of calcium, magnesium, and other minerals. But calcium is one of the largest mineral in there, so that's why we put that there on the label. It does a tremendous job, and it's just a good balanced combination of different ingredients all in one product. We try to make just a really good combination of ingredients that will really help, that are safe to use, that work synergistically together. And this is the reason why we have that particular product. So it's pretty important to me that these products do what we say they do as well.
Thank you, Dr. Jeff. Now let's take a closer look at the drops. The first bottle has the homeopathy that's a legitimate recognized medical system with a concept of like cures like. And with the example at the bottom, if a red onion makes your eyes water, they can dilute it and dilute it further and further to the point where there's nothing left but the essence or energy of the substance, and that's what they put in the homeopathy remedy for allergies. Look at some of the things on these ingredients, things like obesity, bowel movements, acid reflux, digestion, constipation, depression, insomnia, more obesity, more thyroid, more digestion, bowel movements, and the list goes on and on. But I want you to notice the comment, very important, under the image. It is totally unrelated and not like HCG diet at all. I'm personally not a fan, as you can tell. The second bottle does not contain homeopathy, but the B12, like the doctor said, is the best methylcobalamin format, and we're putting it into the bloodstream without making it go through the challenging digestive tract. And a lot of vegans that don't eat animal foods might be deficient, the elderly, the heartburn people, and people that are stressed. So very brilliant. And B12 is so much more than the energy. If you look here at the top, it's also used to support the myelin sheath around our nerves and the neurotransmission and the replication of DNA. So if you have numbing, tingling, things like that, there's so many people that can benefit from this. And I love that it's combined in the same bottle with my favorite category of herbs over 2 decades, adaptogens. So when you eat them, they help you to survive the brutal stress that you might be under. And whether you're super exhausted and want to come up to normal, or hyper and want to come down to normal, think of adaptogens. And don't forget the adaptogens also are linked to belly fat from the stressed cortisol hormone coming out of the adrenal glands. And also the excess cortisol is linked to inflammation and a lot of damage in the body. That's a huge benefit right there. Very thin people, stressed people, you don't need to want to lose weight to use these drops. They're balancing drops.
This is the most impressive clinical trial on a weight and wellness system I've ever seen in my career. And you have to note that during the trial, they did use calorie restriction to keep the groups even, the group that had the real drops and the people that had the fake drops, and they didn't know they were fake. But we never ask anyone to count calories since that clinical trial. Instead, we like to use the time-restricted eating or the intermittent fasting approach as an ideal complement to this. But people are still very successful even if they don't do that. So in the trial, women lost an amazing half pound per day and men 2/3 pound per day, while the control group only lost half as much weight versus the people with the real drops, even though they had extra supplements that the drops group didn't have. All the drop subjects lost significant inches around the waist, which is indicative of those visceral fat stores, the ones that are smothering and clinging to our vital organs around the middle. And the drop subjects decreased their serum insulin level an average of 27.7%. And a lot of you have heard about the A1C scores, and it's technically called HbA1c, decreased in the group with the real drops a whopping 4.4%, noting that even 1% in the A1C score is significant. The drop subjects reduced something called C-reactive protein 24%. That's HS-CRP. Well, this C-reactive protein is an indicator of cardiac inflammation and risk of stroke and artery disease. Even though the study was done in the fall and winter, vitamin D levels increased with the drops people 15.7% overall, and the increase in the HDL, which we nicknamed the good cholesterol, was a whopping 15% in the people with real drops, which brought 90% of them into the optimal range. In wellness, we consider the ratio of triglycerides to HDL, the good cholesterol, a major important factor, more than an absolute number, and the drop subjects produced 41% reduction in the triglyceride to HDL ratio, which significantly indicates reduced insulin resistance, which is not desirable, and cardiometabolic risk. Triglycerides, a lot of us have heard about those. Every one of the drop subjects significantly improved those, and the inflammatory marker called VLDL, which is not the good cholesterol, significantly reduced. The placebo subjects with the fake drops complained of hunger and weakness in exercise and fatigue, yet not a single drop subject reported detox symptoms in the first week. Early on in the study, some placebo subjects expressed difficulty in continuing because these fake drops weren't doing a thing for them, and the drop subjects expressed confidence, energy, and enthusiasm to continue this as a lifestyle. Now, the bottom line is that 90% of the drop subjects with the real drops reached their weight loss goal compared to none in the control group. That's amazing. So our conclusion is, no doubt about it, the WOW drops are amazing. And when you think about it, the fact that these drops are also helping with stress linked to the cortisol belly fat issue and inflammation, and you think about they might help you sleep better as well, then all of these are factors in helping you to achieve and maintain your optimal weight and wellness.
So as a hydration specialist, this is a hot button that you must understand, and a very important topic that might just be a wake-up call for many people listening. German researchers tested 18 of the most popular little plastic bottled water brands in the world, and every one of the brands had over 24,500 different chemicals to hinder your health and hydration into the single-file aquaporins, and in less than 1/10 of an ounce interfered with hormone receptor activity, 60% estrogen and 90% on androgen. So the purified tap water in the same study didn't interfere at all. So heating chunks of plastic and filling it with water without letting it cool more than a day and letting pumps and pipes leach cleaning agents is something that I think everyone should say, I'll only do plastic bottle boilers if I'm desperate. I typically will like people to consider half their body weight in ounces of pure water per day. So 200-pound person, 100 ounces of pure water per day. I drink a glass or two when I wake up. I drink 20, 30 minutes before a meal, chew really good, and I don't drink water till at least an hour later after the meal to avoid diluting my digestive juices. So very important, there's something called molecular hydrogen, but this is great for obesity, chronic inflammation, and almost any disease you can think of. Whether you're thirsty or not, lots of water to flush the toxins. I was delighted that the Drops Company offers this amazing portable water filtration system. While we're detoxifying, please don't keep bringing toxins into the body. This is kind of inspiring from the corporate website and the 60-day challenge. My favorite is Hannibal. He's really an inspiration because he wanted to be there for his little baby and be healthy and live a long time enjoying his family. So he made up his mind, I'm going to set timers and take those drops. I'm going to stick to the food list. I'm even going to work out like crazy. And I'm going to use the phenomenal cranberry pea protein to help build more muscles. So set your mind to what you want and you can do it.
The very best results producing product of my 2-decade wellness career is what we call K Plus Super Tonic, inspired by prayer in 1922 by an expert. And the K stands for potassium, and the plus stands for the 14 natural herbs uniquely molecularly extracted and combined. Targeted benefits of ingredients include digestion, acid-alkaline pH balancing and uptake of nutrients, inflammation, oxygenation, male and female hormones, the key minerals such as potassium, magnesium, and calcium, but also the trace minerals, the skin, detoxification, both blood and liver purification, cholesterol and triglycerides, bowel movements, microbes, calmness, and much more. We invite you to watch the 15-minute detailed product video at kplussupertonic.com. In the beginning, we showed the overview of the WOW program components, and now let's take a little closer look at the recap. We've talked a lot about the WOW drop system and the WOW digestion optional components, and you can see which episodes reference those. But let's focus for a minute on the WOW basics. The WOW Fasting podcast, especially episodes 1, 2, and 12, talk about setting a 6 or an 8-hour eating window. For example, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. would be an 8-hour eating window for your caloric food, leaving another 16 hours for the body to burn off what you consumed, and ideally eating 2 meals a day without snacks instead of the typical approach. We talked about the excellent hydration covered in episode 53, and it's very important to have a positive mind-body-spirit connection and listen to your body. Episode 21. Get back with the person that referred you regarding the WOW program. And we have taken the technologies of the drop system and the digestive components and made them available for sharing with the Lifeboat Freedom program.